Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, this is the official post-fight review for Srisaket Sor Rungvisai versus Juan Francisco Estrada, and it was just a fantastic fight. Like if you're a hardcore boxing fan and you can understand boxing on a deep level, this was the fight for you because this was a fight where you had Juan Francisco Estrada, who was kind of like the Juan Manuel Marquez counter puncher, fantastic boxer from the outside, counter punches his opponents to death, basically. Going up against the most physically strong 115-pound fighter in the world in Rungvisai, coming off of a knockout win over the guy he lost to back when he was at flyweight, Roman Gonzalez, when Roman was in his prime. So it just had the makings for a great fight written all over, and it delivered. It really did. Early on, Estrada really was seen reluctant to really fight at mid range or close range. He really just stayed on the outside, sometimes way too far on the outside, and he was getting outboxed by a guy that really doesn't have the better boxing skills than him. But tactically, it was an interesting fight because there were times where Estrada, who has a reputation for being a counter puncher, right? A guy who has a reputation for being a counter puncher, he was the guy that basically was stalking at some points in the middle rounds. He was the one stalking Rungvisai, and Rungvisai became the counter puncher. Rungvisai became the technical boxer, the counter puncher. So I just thought it was a real intelligent fight from Rungvisai. He showed good, just side to side movement with his upper body early on. He made Rungvisai made Estrada respect his power early, and even I remember an instance where Max Kellerman and Andrew Orr were talking about how they heard Rungvisai tell or Estrada tell his trainer that, hey, this guy Rungvisai has big time power. But to that point, when he told his trainer that Rungvisai only hadn't landed anything that we would deem as a flush or hard punch, but he clearly felt it enough to tell his trainer that. So that tells you the kind of beast Rungvisai is in the ring. So around the middle to latter parts of the fight, basically Estrada decides to do what he should have been doing earlier, which is, using that jab more, jabbing his way in, using more lateral movement, kind of doing what Roman Gonzalez did following when he got knocked down in the first Rungvisai fight. If you guys remember, Roman had a lot of success in the first fight using lateral movements, stepping around Rungvisai, creating angles. Now Estrada did something similar to that. Setting traps, being able to win the battle of positioning, which he was losing so much in the early part of the fight. And then you saw him landing counter punches going backwards, counter punches going forward, hooks to the head, hooks to the body, jabs to the stomach, or a straight right hand to the head. He started finding the range, and he finished the fight very, very strong. It was a very close fight. It really could have went either way, as corny as that sounds. It really could have went either way. I could see a scenario where Estrada, on some people's cards, gets a decision because he came out really, really strong in the latter part of the fight. And if you give one of the earliest swing rounds to him, because there were a couple swing rounds early on, if you give one of the earliest swing rounds to him, then that becomes a scenario where he just edges it out. But a lot of people on the live stream, and by the way, we had a lot of fun on the live stream. There's a couple thousand people on the live stream, so if you weren't there, you missed out. But it was one of those fights where I think they're really it's corny as this is to say, because this is not the YMCA where everybody gets a trophy, but there really were no losers in terms of the fight, because I thought Rungvisai he came out the winner. He gave a great account of himself. Estrada looked like he was getting bullied early on. He made the adjustment. He showed the boxing IQ to make the adjustments, to use his lateral movement to fight a little bit closer to Rungvisai, and then he showed his exceptional counterpunching ability as the fight went on, and he showed why he was a little fighter tonight, even in defeat. So that's what it is. And when you look at Rungvisai, let's go to Rungvisai for a second. Rungvisai's last 3 fights, he's beaten Roman Gonzalez twice. The first time Roman was coming off the Quadras win, and he was looking towards Inoue and making that fight happen. He was supposed to be that stepping stone to get to that point. He upset Roman. He upset the apple carts, and he became champion in a fight where many people thought Roman got robbed. I thought Roman got robbed in that fight. And I made a video saying that he got robbed of his true place in boxing history because win that fight would have propelled Roman into probably an Inoue fight, but he got the decision there. He erased all doubts in the rematch. He knocked Roman out, and Roman Gonzalez out in the 4th or 5th round, something like that. Cold, knockout of the year candidate type, knockout. Then he comes to this fight. He fights a guy in Estrada who is more in the prime of his career than Roman, a lot more physically stronger at the weight than Roman. Someone who's coming off of a good performance against Quadras on that same card where Rungvisai knocked out Roman, and he goes in there and he shows that he's not just the thing. Like about this fight with Rungvisai was he showed tonight that he wasn't just a big bulldozing puncher. He was more than that tonight. He was a thinking man's fighter. He was a thinking man's puncher. He was a thinking man's boxer. He was just more than people give him credit for tonight. And you look at his last 3 wins, and I think you look at that, and you got to say, man, this is a guy that's making a great claim for top 5 pound for pound, because you can't really name any fighters in boxing. Really, name a fighter. You can go to Lomachenko, you can go to Crawford, you can go to Kovalev. Name me fighters in boxing right now who got wins like Roman Gonzalez and Estrada back to back. I mean, it really isn't much better you can do than that. So, that's what it is. Rungvisai did say in the post-fight interview that he would give Estrada a rematch. So assuming that Inoue doesn't come down from 115 to fight Rungvisai, because he should fight Rungvisai. He never fought any of the top guys. He's firmly established as the number 1 guy in the division, and I would love to see a rematch between Estrada and Rungvisai. And I think Estrada was so weary of the power early on that he was reluctant to get out to try to fight anywhere close to the guy. He was staying on the outside, and it gave Rungvisai a lot of confidence and gave him an advantage early on. But I think once he was put into a position where he had to fight in closer quarters, then that's where he began to warm up. That's where he began to find his range. That's where he found his rhythm, and he had his success. So I think if they fought again, I think Estrada would be more inclined to have success early, and it'd make for a great fight. So that's the news, man. Srisaket Sor Rungvisai picks up a very close majority decision and picks up a win and retains his WBC title for the 2nd time against a very, very fantastic, excellent, A-level, in my opinion, the best Mexican fighter in the world, Juan Francisco Estrada. So great fight tonight. If you missed it, when it comes out on YouTube, I'd highly recommend you go watch it. But yeah, that's the news. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every video, my name is Brendan Taylor, and you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Dania. So until next time, take care, guys.